Well, welcome back to Dream Stories.
Are you welcoming me?
I'm welcoming you. Yeah, I was looking straight at you. Welcome back to Dream Stories. Is that better?
That's better. You should be welcoming me because
I should be.
Yes.
It's true. Listen, folks, we've got a great guest this week for Dream Stories, but because they're on the other side of the world, Lisa had to get up way earlier than her normal. I mean, she had to be up by 7 a.m. I mean, that's several hours ahead of schedule.
No, that's not what the problem is. I'm just here this
You're just here this
I
morning.
can get up early. I was up at 5, so I just go
Why didn't we get started then? It would have been better for
I just went back to bed.
Oh me. Well, we're really excited this week to jump into dreams again, but to do it with a really good friend of ours, somebody we met through the Irish Prophet, through Brendan McCauley, one of his sons who I met when I visited Brendan in Ireland.
Yeah.
But then we got a chance to go and see this special guest where he lives in Slovakia a few times.
No,
So
that's just kind of strange, isn't it?
it is, isn't it?
Through an Irishman, go to Ireland, we meet him there, and now we know him in a totally different nation. Did I meet him? Yeah, I met
You
him
met
in
him
Slovakia.
in Slovakia. Yeah, it's true. Well, anyway, let's introduce you to our good friend and an amazing guest to have on with us, a great dreamer and interpreter of dreams in Slovakia as well. So we're glad to have you, Aaron McCauley. How are you today?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for having me on the Dream Stories.
Oh,
This is exciting.
I'm glad you feel it's exciting. We're very excited to have you. So
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I met Elisa before I met you. We were over in.
true.
I was with my dad in Scotland. John Paul Jackson
Oh.
was doing a conference
Yeah.
up in Peterhead, or up in one of the up at the top there of Scotland, and I think Elisa was working at the book table, and I walked in with my
Yes,
dad and my sister.
actually, I just floated around. I didn't know anything about the books at all. I just happened to be there, and I actually remember y'all walking in. You and there's like 3 or 4 of you guys accompanying your dad. So yeah, I do remember that moment very well, and I think I actually took y'all in and helped y'all get seated or into the room where John Paul was. So yeah.
now, when you say there was Aaron and 3 or 4, that's a very small
That was like
percentage of the
fourth
family.
or third.
How many?
The
Just tell them.
family.
Just you've got to do this, Aaron. Tell everybody how many siblings you do have.
Okay, so I sometimes I get this wrong, so I think hold on, let me count. 7 brothers and 6 sisters, so
Yeah.
altogether there's 14 children.
Yep, 14. I would ask you to give all their names, but I don't want to run the risk since you have trouble
I-
sometimes with the numbers.
I
So-
know all the names. I don't know. I can tell you.
Oh, I know you could. I know you could. And some
Well,
of
I
them
can
may
tell
be
you. I can
watching.
tell you
so-
that. Sorry, I
That's
can tell you
some-
there's a Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham there.
There are. That's true.
Yes, that's
true.
right.
I love it. I love it. Great family. If anybody ever gets the chance to meet any of the McCauley family, you are in for a treat because they are all amazing, amazing folks. We love that family dearly, and
It's very true.
We really do. We may have to find more of your family. We may get 14 episodes. No, let's see, 16 episodes
It
out
would
of
be
this because we
16
could
if you
do
come
mom
all
and dad too.
individually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So, well, anyway, we're really, really glad to have you. But one of the reasons we talked to Aaron about being on is not just because he's generally an amazing guy and great dreamer and understands dream interpretation, but because our connection to him was strengthened and really tightened up in a lot of ways, Aaron, through a dream that you had. Which to me was kind of an amazing thing. It set us on a real journey, but it was a big deal for you too. So I kind of thought it would be cool to talk about a dream that not only impacts the dreamer,
Right.
but impacts others who are in the dream as well. So
Well, also, I mean, if you think about it, it even goes back further than that dream. Not necessarily that connected you to Aaron specifically, but even back to the family. Because
Yeah.
you had a dream about being in their home, their family home in Ireland. You called John Paul and said, I had this dream. And he said, that means you have a work to do.
It
In
does.
Ireland.
There were actually 2 dreams. I don't know if you even know this, Aaron, because our whole connection to your family has been intertwined in dreams. Intertwined in dreams. Our whole connection to your family has been intertwined in dreams, because I did have a dream that about the octopi that involved your family and your family's home there in Ireland. And I also had a dream that your dad came into our home in Birmingham, Alabama, and a few months later, because of that dream, he left. He was visiting John Paul in Texas, came to Birmingham and spent a week with us because of that dream. That was payback. Your dream was payback for my dream for him. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we can get into those later, but
Okay.
let's hear while we've got Aaron. Let's hear
Sure.
about this dream, and then we'll work our way through how these dreams intertwine to the families.
Okay.
So, tell us about that one, or what you remember from that dream, Aaron.
Okay. So at the moment, I live in Budmeric, which is in Slovakia. We live in a family home here. So the context of the dream was we were at our family home, and there was 2 large vehicles came, probably like Jeep types, and there was, from what I can remember, there was 2 people there, and there was one of the Jeeps, and inside there was a man who wanted to give me a large inflatable boat. So we were trying to pump up the boat, but the inflatable boat, we couldn't get the air into it because there was a hole there. And the other man who was with the other car, I couldn't see who that was. But then I remember being in a room with John Paul Jackson, and he was speaking to you, and he was saying that your ministry would fit together well with what Aaron is doing here in Slovakia, his work with families. So it was on the basis of that dream that I had enough courage to just send you an email and see if you'd ever heard of Slovakia, or if you'd ever thought about coming out here. And that's sort of that was the dream that sort of got the ball rolling, shall we say?
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. The thing to me about that is, for folks who are listening and watching, because of the relationship we had with Aaron's dad, because of the relationship we had with John Paul, that dream had more significance because of the background.
Well, and because of the other dream that you had already had, that you had talked to John Paul about, and then to know that he appeared in a dream. And John Paul happens to be a mentor to us, and I think to your family, of strong connection, with Aaron's family as well. So that also brought, definite significance in the dream.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, because we'll give you the full story for the folks watching, so we get it. So Aaron reaches out to us with this dream, and for whatever reason, I mean, we know, Aaron, we know, because it was God, it was our Creator making a connection. But for whatever reason, something just ignited in us, in me, to go. I mean, I literally, from the moment you shared that dream, Aaron, from the moment you shared it in that email, I knew I was coming to Slovakia. I mean, it really was nothing more than figuring out when and how to get there. I mean, I don't know what you were thinking about that, but for me, it was like, yes, we're going. Because our connection to Aaron directly prior to that had really been, I guess the closest part of it, had been an afternoon in your dad's house that we visited. I mean, we knew each other, but just that afternoon there. So what?
Yeah, well, it was the afternoon, and I think what I remember my dad asking, because my wife plays flute.
Yep.
And my dad had asked if my wife Marta could play flute for you. So I think she did. She played some prophetic flute.
She did. I still remember that. And I lost my recording of that. And your beautiful wife for my birthday, was it last year or the year before? It must have been, it was a couple of years ago now. For my birthday, played the flute on a recording and emailed it to me to replace my lost flute. She is so amazing. So I still remember that, and I still have that one. So, but that was really, yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool because that was significant as well. But that was it. The relationship was really, I don't want to put it wrong, but it was kind of casual. I mean, we knew each other through mutual friends more than anything.
Yeah.
What now? Let me ask you a question that I'm curious about. With that, for me, I had this immediate sense of needing to come. But when you have a dream like that, how did you process it to reach the point of what goes on in your mind to reach the point of actually sort of extending that invitation? Because from my side, I felt something. I knew I was supposed to come, but there's still that more casual type relationship at that moment in time. Now, today, I would say it's like, we're family. But when the dream happened, there was still a little bit of a distance in relationship of just familiarity. How did you process that to extend an invitation to somebody? What goes on in your mind for that?
Well, the key thing for me was that there was a message in there that your ministry, it was a right fit for the ministry that we're doing over here. And part of what we're doing is connecting mature ministries outside the country to mature ministries within the country. So we've had many people say, can we come out and do ministry? We'd love to come and see you. And there's times where I've just had to maybe wait and see if maybe get a confirmation on that. But with this, John Paul was saying that your ministry was a right fit for the work we're doing in Slovakia. So that was sort of the go button. And there was someone else trying to help me, give me an inflatable boat, but it had a hole in it. So that was also backed up. This ministry, it's mature ministry. They can be trusted. And it was just, I plucked up enough courage just to send an email. And
now, did you grow up in a home? I know the answer to this, where dreams were significant and important, because a lot of people would just dismiss that dream. It's just a dream. So maybe did you have experience yourself from previous dreams or anything like that that really encouraged you to say, okay, I know God is speaking to me through this?
Yeah, well, there was one time we went to Poland with 2 or 3 other leaders, and prior to that, we were going to visit John Paul in Poland. And prior to that, I had a dream where John Paul, he was in an upper room, everything was white, and he was preaching. So, John Paul Jackson's, he's turned up in a lot of dreams, my dreams. So it's sort of like there's been a pattern of this. And, dreams have been significant for, my parents have been dreaming, children have been dreaming. I was a late dreamer, if such a term exists.
I like that.
And
that's an encouragement to a lot of folks, Aaron. Actually, I really like the fact you just said that, because a lot of folks say, I don't dream. And just let me stop you there and encourage people. If you don't dream, don't give up on it. God can still speak to you through dreams. You may feel like it hasn't happened yet, but he can still do it. So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was just that's a powerful statement for a lot of folks.
Yeah. So a late dreamer, I've been called many things, but I've never been called a late dreamer. So I just called myself a late dreamer. But no, one night there was a prophetic man, and he's a friend of my dad's, and you've probably met him. And he said to me, Aaron, do you dream? And I just jokingly said, no, I don't really dream, but if I do dream, I get a big one, a real important one. And that night I got a big important, a dream, significant dream. And it was just at that point where, these are dreams for me, could God be speaking to me? And that was sort of from that point, I took it, the step to try and understand them more and give them more importance than maybe I had been doing before.
That's good.
that's-
And your dream itself speaks of, other men. You said there were two men or two Jeeps that had come up. That speaks of hardworking, a good work going on. People who are really trying to maybe traverse rough terrain, but they have the ability to do it. And maybe they were wanting you to do something, but you were missing something. There was like either a plug knot in the boat or an inflatable boat. But that inflatable boat even speaks to something that's can go somewhere. It can travel. It can go from one place to another easily. But you just needed some help with that, and that's where the key came in, I think, to the dream to help you with that. So, but you're still very important in the dream. It's not just about Michael.
No, I think that's something. And Aaron, I don't know if we've actually talked about, because we all just responded to that dream. You responded because there's two parts of that dream. There's the really deeper metaphorical part that it begins with, and then there's the more direct portion of that dream that says, this is something, it doesn't need as much interpretation. This is something that fits for the country. But we haven't really talked about the metaphorical part, because we just responded to the more direct part of it immediately. Both you and I and Lisa gave a very direct response to that. But as I'm sitting here and we're talking about it, I'm thinking about that first part. It didn't mean that the other Jeep didn't have value. The other Jeeps, the Jeeps there, they were able to get to difficult places. They're able to move through difficult terrain. But what it said was they were carrying something that wouldn't float in Slovakia. It didn't even mean that the boat was bad. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't ready. It wasn't prepared for Slovakia. And that doesn't even necessarily mean it wouldn't be in the future.
Right.
I think that's something we see. One aspect of the dream that said come, and we responded, but the dream really also says God is very interested. Your creator, the one who gave the dream, is very interested not only in what's happening in Slovakia, but what you're doing in Slovakia, which you mentioned briefly, but that work of bringing people together is powerful. I mean, that's not a trivial purpose in the nation you're in.
Yeah.
I have a question. So John Paul was just on the periphery. You didn't even notice him until you noticed you had a hole in the boat, and he said, Michael is a good fit for you. Like, this could be a solution that would help you get the boat maybe a little bit differently. No?
There was two. I think you visited our house. So there was the house. There was the actual house ourselves, our own family house.
Yeah.
And there was the two Jeeps were outside. So the inflatable boat was sort of connected to the Jeeps. There was two separate Jeeps. Mm-hmm. So it was sort of like maybe like two ministries. I recognized the person.
Okay.
In the other Jeep. So it was sort of like two Jeeps, two ministries, but it was sort of within the house, within the actual house. There was I could just see John Paul Jackson send to Michael that your ministry would be a good fit for the work you do. So that was, and I think when I didn't communicate all the details of the dream. No, you didn't. I just sort of connected this, that I feel that your ministry, John Paul had mentioned that your dream, or that your ministry would be a good fit for the work that we're doing in Slovakia.
Yeah, I think that really is the way you approached it to begin with, which is I had a dream that John Paul said your dream would be a good fit for Slovakia. And the rest of the dream becomes a valuable, benefit to what's happening there. But I love the fact that, who we are. I hope you can probably speak to it better than me, but we didn't come into Slovakia and try and take over or promote something or say we're amazing. The dream was exactly what it was. This is a good fit. These things work together. It doesn't mean that we have a lifelong call to Slovakia. It doesn't mean that we're supposed to become prominent and important in Slovakia. It just means we can work together well. And I think that's played out pretty good with you, for sure.
It does. Yeah.
Hopefully you think that. I don't know. We get you live and put you on the spot to ask you that question, but
well, see, there was the dream here. So we had the dream where I had the dream, and I spoke to my wife, and she normally interprets my dreams, gives me the answers for them. But so we both agreed together that, of course, we would send the invitation. So, and then you came over to Slovakia, and there was a lot of met different groupings, and there was a lot of blessing brought to people. But it also brought blessing to our family, because around that time, I was thinking of changing work and exploring different opportunities. And it was just at that time when we were meeting, we were able to talk some things through, and there was change in our family. There was work change situations,
That's
things
good.
changed dramatically after that there.
That's good.
So it was a blessing of getting the dream and the revelation, you coming over visiting with us, but it helped change our situation as well.
Oh, that's so
So
nice to
that
hear.
was
Well,
that was a big after blessing, shall we say?
yeah, and I think that's cool too, because the way the dream plays out, it doesn't just become a blessing to you, because you could interpret that dream just as Michael has something, it'll be a good fit. This will be good for Aaron, this will be good for Slovakia, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's any reciprocal benefit, if you could say that, I guess, back to us or our ministry. But yet that's really not true, because the dream was a good fit. It fits well both ways. Not only has our relationship with you and Mara been strengthened, and we consider it, you guys, some of our very, very close friends, well, literally, like I said, family, but the doors then opened for other connections with ministry that you and I both have had input into in Slovakia. We ended up coming back the next year and speaking at a conference. Let's see if I remember, ENC, European Network of Communities Conference. And you and I went. Well, Lisa was along for that too.
Oh, well, thank you,
Yes,
Michael.
right. But we went up to the mountains. I can't remember what they were called. What are those mountains?
Patria Mountain.
Tatra Mountains. Yes, Tatras Mountains. We went up to the mountains and did that conference, and just more connections and relationships built. And it was there's really been a weaving together through you, not really so much without you. I don't have the connections to those groups without you, but we've been able to sow into other lives because of you and your dream, and other ministries because of you and your dream.
Yeah, I think it also comes back to the right fit as well, because the ministry that you and Elisa both have together, it's you're responsible for like a family of different ministries, and the ENC are sort of they bring a family of different ministries across Europe together. So this was like another fit.
Yeah.
That you were like, it was a ready-made fit.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
mean, we felt that too, so it's good to see that other people saw that as well, because we felt the same thing. So
Yeah, I was very sad, just to be honest, that
Tell me.
we had COVID this year and we didn't get to come see you.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to go to Poland. I think ENC was in Poland this year. We didn't get to go and see that group again, because you're right. While that word to you from John Paul about this is a good fit was direct, and we responded to it directly, it was also a metaphor. That just hit me. The good fit was a good fit means everything touches. I think about fitting like a glove. You put a glove on a glove, it fits like a glove. It's because the glove touches the parts of your hand exactly like it's supposed to. Yeah. And that's the metaphor of what John Paul was saying. It's a good fit. There's this, everything's going to touch or connect in the right ways.
Right. I think it's interesting because the first time that I did meet you, and I forgot that we had met, but we didn't really, it's one of those times where it's just like a quick encounter and you don't know who you're talking to. Because when your dad walked into that meeting that time, we were in Banff, Scotland, I was like, oh, who is this man? I knew there was something special about him and his entourage, but I didn't know what it was. And then, but my journey on that particular trip was that I had a dream. That the thing that led me there was I had a dream where I was, John Paul just appeared in my dream, and he says, I can't wait to see you in Scotland and hearing you speak with a Gaelic accent. Well, I woke up from that and I was like, what is Gaelic? I didn't even know. I was in my 30s. I didn't really know what it meant. And then I looked it up. And when I told Michael the dream, he goes, "You're going to have to go on this trip. You're going to have to go on this trip." And I was like, okay. Because John Paul had extended invitations for people to go. So it's interesting how, our lives are orchestrated if we're willing to listen to our Creator when He's speaking through dreams.
Yeah.
Because our encounter there led us to another encounter where Michael then went on a trip, and then you went to Ireland with John Paul, met them. I mean, it's just interesting how it all just played. And it's not that I don't wake up every day going, oh, I need to act on every single thing I saw in a dream. But at least yearly or something, I'm having dreams that so powerfully impact my life and help me make decisions, or warn me of things to come, or brings me greater understanding about my life. So I just love it. I love how our Creator God has uniquely created us so that when we're sleeping, we're not wasting time, but we're actually getting downloads of information that will help us on our journey. It's really cool.
It's good. Well, and I love connections made through dreams. This family connection, I think it's just so appropriate, Aaron, for you to be our first video guest on the podcast, because there's a lot of things about what we do that you and your family have been a part of developing and drawing forth, and both with dreams and prophetic revelatory type ministry, but also with the Patria family of ministries that we put together. Your family has had huge impact on that, and really literally, as we sit here and think about this, a series of dreams, Lisa's dreams, my dreams, your father's dreams, John Paul's dreams, which led to certain connections, is what has knit this family together. Dreams have really knit our families together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's like I was thinking about it. It's like the connection thing. My dad sent over some copies of their new book, and we were posting out to different people that we've been connected with. And it's a bit of work finding the addresses, posting them off. But it was such a wonderful feeling when people would ring you up and say, "Thank you so much for the book and for the card that you sent." It's like a reconnection, and it's like a present, and it's sort of dreams. I think dreams are a bit like that sometimes. I know we're in the season of Christmas, but it's like, the download, or gifts or messages, and it's like, even in these difficult times, like if I think back to when I had the dream, like it's, God's sending you a message, or showing you that He cares, that He cares about us.
Yeah.
And that dream is almost timeless at this point, because the relationship that was built out of that dream will tie us back to that dream forever. Because, it's really kind of cool the way God does that, because really the thing that's important now is the relationship. The dream could fade and the relationship would still be important. But yet, because we have the relationship, the dream will never fade. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, we're almost out of time, which just blows my mind, because I'm having a hard time realizing we've already moved through almost 30 minutes on this conversation, which I guess is what happens when you sit down and you just have family conversation and talk. So we're going to have you back, Aaron, because there's some other dreams. We didn't get into any of the dreams that linked to the families beyond yours, really, other than cursorily. And you've had some other dreams that have really guided and directed how and why you ended up in Slovakia that we didn't get a chance to talk about. So I don't know if you'd be willing to come back sometime soon and share some of those things, but we would love it. So
absolutely, it's been wonderful reconnecting with you and speaking, and I'd love to spend more time with you, and keep the connection.
Amen. It's be good.
Yeah, it's like you're sitting in our studio right now.
It is.
Your head is proportionally about the same size as Michael's right now. So
it's good.
It's like you're just sitting here with us. So.
We this is all new for us. With this, we've got Aaron not here in the studio. Literally, he's still in Slovakia in the middle of the afternoon. We're recording in the early morning. And it's just been lots of fun to do. So thank you again, Aaron, for coming and being with us via video and via Zoom, as everything's become Zoom related this year. We've all learned how to use Zoom, I think. So, but for the rest of you, we just want to say to you, thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you back, and Dream Stories being back and going with the new video format. Go out, subscribe to the Facebook page, or subscribe to the YouTube page. We're on the Patria YouTube page right now while we're getting a Dream Stories page set up. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those different formats. When you like, subscribe, and follow, those really are important things for us to be able to keep the podcast going, and we truly do appreciate it as you join us in those ways. So we're looking forward to many more episodes, and until next time, it's time for me to say, keep dreaming.